or at least chat with each other?
They could have. Yeah. I mean, I enabled the chat. I don't know if anybody did. I didn't get a chance. It wasn't a very entertaining football game. So I don't know. I don't know how many views we got or anything like that. I really don't.
Yeah, because I know in the past when we've done it the other way, where you send the signal to us and then we do the YouTube part of it, every once in a while somebody would text something on there, but it was way too late by the time any of us, well, me, when I was doing it, when I would see it, it was like, whoa, they posted this an hour ago. I was busy eating pizza. Yeah, so I'm not really monitoring it a lot, at that point, so... Not looking.
And nor am I. I wouldn't have been able to comment either.
No, you couldn't.
I don't have time.
No, and plus you don't want that distraction while you're doing play-by-play. But what I was thinking,
the worst thing you could do is listen to when you're doing any broadcast is to listen to something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I was thinking in terms of them, the viewer talking to each other. I didn't know if that was.
Yeah, I think they could have. I think so.
Well, that's kind of a nice feature. Yeah, it's a really wonderful thing you do. It is so valuable that I hope everybody realizes that you're not going to get this unless Galen does this.
Exactly.
Because there's not another person on this staff that can even come close to doing it.
No.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No.
And Wise Guys Pizza and Wireless White Warehouse are making it possible this year. So
there you go.
That's been really, really nice having them on board.
And was Pat McBride your co-host on Friday?
No, Bill Cherry was. And Bill did play-by-play for 20 years, and he now teaches at Vanguard. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be able to do the Vanguard Forest game because I'm going to be in Austin, Texas at a Formula One race.
Oh, my.
And he's like, I'll do it. I'm like, great. So he's going to do it. We're just going to have to run the breaks from back at the studio. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, because that's a rivalry game. I mean, that's like the biggest. Yeah. So good for him. Thank you, Bill Cherry, for stepping up and doing this. This is wonderful.
Well, he's one of those guys at a school, and there seems to be one or two of them at every school. But what Bill does is he is the PA announcer at every sporting event that Vanguard has, whether it's volleyball, softball, baseball. He does sometimes when it doesn't conflict with basketball. He does all the basketball games. He does the football games. And without a guy like that within your staff that you don't pay, right? That he just does it because he loves the kids and he loves the sport. It would be really, really difficult to have any kind of an athletic program. And Bill is that guy for Vanguard. So he's a huge asset.
Wow.
Well, thank you,
Very
Mr.
cool.
Bill Cherry.
And we're lucky as a station that you guys are doing that. Like I said,
for free, like you said.
First of all, we wouldn't even try it because it would sound so bad. Everybody has their own thing, and we're good at the things we're good at, but it's not that.
No, Galen, you and Bill and
it is not that.
Great.
Yeah, and it's so popular. I mean, people who love sports love listening to it. I've known many guys. I feel like I've had more sports friends than music friends, by the way. I think I've shared that with you before.
Of course you have.
No, I have. And the one thing I remember, one of my closest friends down in Naples used to listen to a game on the radio while at the same time having one on two of them, two different TVs, two different games. And I was, how do you do that? How do you pay attention to all that? So, and I'm sure you've done the same thing.
It's easy. It's easy.
It's easy. Can you imagine listening to two pieces of music at the same time?
Yeah.
I got Queen going on in one ear.
Yeah, but you know this. Music gives you a different physical response, right?
Oh.
I mean, you don't get that response the same way. Like, music is much deeper in a lot of ways.
By the way, I saw a video over the weekend. I wanted to share it with you. I'll have to find it. And it's to me, it illustrates a great marriage of music and sports. And if you're thinking I'm going to tell you about a piece of music that has fast-paced, energetic drumming and horns playing, that works also with sports videos, right? Mm-hmm. But this one was, I think it was, oh my gosh, one of those beautiful, soft singing ladies. What do you got, something to do? So.
He's whispering.
What?
He's whispering. Galen's whispering.
Anyway, it was...
Well, no, I just drove by my house and I told myself I forgot to put up a shovel and a wheelbarrow because I didn't finish a project.
Oh.
I'm just mad at myself.
Oh, do you want to go get it?
No, because I'm gone now. It's too late.
Oh, okay.
That is past.
So anyway, there was this video, and it was showing all the cool things, the cool moments in sports, and it was a couple of examples. A famous basketball player signs his shoes while he's wearing them, takes them off, and hands them to a young girl standing on the sideline. It just makes her day.
Wow.
Just makes her day.
Wow.
Another hockey player going into wherever they go after they're off the ice, and a little boy gives him a high five, and the hockey player gives him his hockey stick, and the boy's mouth drops open like, whoa!
I bet it did.
Whoa! And it was all those kind of cool things, just generous moments of generosity. There was one where a boy, like a teenage boy, was given a ball at a baseball game by one of the players. The teenage boy gets up, one row back, and quite a bit down, gives it to a little child who's decked out, by the way, in Red Sox gear, and the music that's going on at the same time. I can't remember the singer's name, but it was just beautiful singing, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was just nice. I was going to share it with you, but it was too long,
You
too.
could thank Mean Joe Green.
Yeah, he started it, right? Yeah.
I don't know if it really was a thing where they would give, like, jerseys away or gloves. That football players always give their gloves away or their cleats or stuff like that or their jersey, until Mean Joe Green did it for a Coke.
Yeah, exactly. That made me cry. That's one of the coolest commercials ever.
Are you okay? Are you putting away the shovel and the wheelbarrow? Or what?
No, I'm just driving.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird connection today.
Okay.
So.
Do you it sounds like you're whispering to somebody. Do you have something you want to give away to your fans?
No, I don't have anything. Like if I was a musician, if I would be a drummer, I would just throw my drumsticks into the crowd every day.
That is cool.
Poke somebody in the eye.
That is cool.
They do that, or your pick.
Oh yeah. When I used to sweep the Nassau Coliseum, I would find drumsticks or picks, and then I wouldn't know. The drumsticks you would know who they were from, but the guitar picks could be from any of them. But I would hold on to them. Hey, I got this from a James Taylor concert. It's probably not his. Probably Danny Korchmar's or something.
Well, weren't we at that Green Day concert and they gave away a guitar?
Oh, at Green Day, they gave away a whole guitar.
Yeah, they asked if anybody knew how to play, and all these hands were raised, and they said, no, you really have to know how to play. So then they picked one person, and he came up on stage, and they gave him this guitar, and they said, you know this song, and he was wailing with it, and he said, okay, the guitar is yours.
I wonder if Dan would mind if I gave away
that's cool.
If I gave away this microphone, I wonder.
Oh, there you go.
What does it sound like when I actually remove it? Let's see if I can still be heard. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you through my headphones.
I disconnected it.
No, can't hear you through my headphones.
I better connect it again. Is it on? I thought some little kid out there might want my microphone.
At noon, we can do it.
Yeah, there's that.
There's that.
I give away my voice, it seems like, all the time. I just lose it. I figure somebody must take it.
That's good. All right, how is the blood supply? Then I want to talk about Columbus Day with you.
Yeah, right now we're doing better on the red cells, but we just really need platelets. We need more people to get out there, get the life, donate blood. Call us at 622-3544 and donate blood.
Palm Garden of Ocala and Penn Flooring make that announcement possible. Thank you both for sponsoring that reminder. Go to Palm Garden, take a tour, see why we recommend Palm Garden for your health, rehabilitative, and therapeutic needs. They are a skilled nursing facility. They're at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. If I can tell you anything that my little notes here don't tell you, these are the sweetest people and the most knowledgeable people, professional people. So anybody, whether it's you or a loved one, they'll be cared for with the best utmost. Utmost? Is that a good word?
Utmost.
Penn Flooring also, I can't say enough about the product that they sell and installed here at WOCA. It's durable, it's clean, or cleans up nice anyway, and it's installed perfectly. So go see how they can make your home or office more beautiful from the floor up. Penn Flooring is at 1201 Southwest 17th Street here in Ocala. All right, so we've had this discussion on Columbus Days in the past, but what are your thoughts on it? You have indigenous heritage yourself, right? Do you feel a need to change the way we've celebrated this day, and what are your thoughts on
No,
that?
I mean, we went a long time without it. I don't know how this helps. And the issue for me is it just, a lot of people who say they're Indians and they're really not. That's always been my problem. Like Elizabeth Warren, just for years claiming she was something, and there was no way in the world she was. But the thing is everybody, it's one of those. It's just passed on, right? From your grandmother was Indian, and you hear that your whole life, and so you kind of believe it. It's just it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Because whenever people ask me, they'll look at me like, what are you? Right? So, what's your race? I'm like, I'm a Native American. They're like, yeah, me too.
What are you?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. You're just like me. Yep.
Nobody ever asked me that.
And you can always say this, and I do this all the time. I'm like, oh, really? What tribe? And they all say Cherokee, right? Almost everybody says, oh, I have Cherokee, and that's the equivalent, if you're an Indian, of saying you're from America. And it's the Cherokee was a designation made by the government. It wasn't made by any Indian tribe.
Oh, really?
It's not a tribe. No, it's one of those. It's like a catch-all. It's literally like saying you're from America.
Isn't that true?
Oh yeah, I'm from the United States.
Galen, isn't that true?
It's the same thing.
For Seminole too, wasn't Seminole a word made up by the Europeans?
Yeah, it was made up to designate a people, at least in the swamps. So I'm okay with the Seminole because then they went on and took it. So I don't have as big of a problem with it because there's the Ocala tribe and things like that. So, and the Trail of Tears, that's what they called. They took all of those people and forced that march. They weren't really Cherokee because if you remember, by the time they settled in their reservations, they never called themselves Cherokee. Nobody there called themselves a Cherokee. So I just think that's really, really important to remember.
I think it is important to remember that Trail of Tears. When you look at that, and the Silver Springs has never shied away from it. In a book I found, was it 1947, Robin? Mm-hmm. There was a little book I found that was distributed in Silver Springs before 1950, anyway, and it didn't hold any punches. It told it like it is, and I do think it's an important thing. Even the statue of Osceola in Silver Springs has a plaque underneath it that basically says this is where his people lived for hundreds of years, and then they were told they couldn't live here anymore. So,
right. That's why Fort King was created. It was to fight the Indian War. I think that's okay. The whole thing with Columbus Day, them trying to make it Indigenous People Day, that part, I don't really care. That's, I don't know. I don't need a holiday.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, knowing you, it makes sense. But I guess everybody's got different opinions. What is closed today? Do you know? Are the banks closed?
No, I doubt it.
Oh, okay.
I doubt it. They might be. They don't need much of an excuse.
So what?
My
What do you?
CEO did ask me if I was coming in today. I said, she's like, "Oh, will you be here Monday?" I said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Why?" Isn't it like Indigenous something day? And I said,
Oh.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Wow.
She goes, oh,
Wait a
you're
minute.
not going to take off? I said, no real reason to.
So
I mean,
what?
I'm not going to have a powwow and
Hey.
sell. Maybe I should go and sell beads somewhere. That would be awesome because I could call them real, authentic Native American beads.
How did that? How
'Cause
did
if
that
I
make?
make them, they're real, authentic American Indian beads, right? And I should do that.
Oh, my
Wow.
gosh,
How
I
did
should
that?
do that next year. Set up a table,
You're doing a bit
sell
right now.
beads.
You're doing a bit. You're doing a comedy bit right now.
Yeah, but that's kind of a bit and kind of not,
Yeah.
right?
So what is the answer that
Wow.
you give when somebody says, "What tribe are you from?" I'm just curious.
Lumbee. I'm a Lumbee.
How do you spell that?
Lumbee.
Wow. So
If we
tell,
don't spell well.
so tell me about that. That's through your mom's side, right?
Yeah. So my mom is full, and I hold on. All right, thanks, man. Dropping somebody off. So yeah, it's I mean, I know my grandmother, I know my great-grandmother, grandfather, great-grandfather, all that. I mean, my mom, we never lived on a reservation. The federal government never recognized us. And so we're still considered the largest tribe in the southeastern part of the country. But the federal government has never recognized us as an official tribe. And
Wow.
which was good and bad. It was good because it didn't kick us off our land. Because during that whole thing with the Trail of Tears, a group of them just went and hid in the swamps of North Carolina. And then we lived there for a very, very long time. Now, in our tribe, the probably the biggest thing is the lost colony of Roanoke. To us, they were never lost. They came and lived with us and lived amongst us, which is where we get a lot of our names from. So if you track our names like Locklear, Robinson, Roberson, those all go back to people who lived who came over with a lost colony of Roanoke. But again, nobody really wants to accept that.
Wow. I never knew that.
I mean, there's so much evidence for it, but it's a much better story if you tell everybody, oh yeah, well the Indians killed them all, or they died of disease. No, they just merged with the current people because they were living on ground that wasn't really sustainable, and so our tribe took them in, and that's why we also have a lot of white features and things like that. So
I have a question.
It's just one of those things.
How important is it for you, for your sons to know that?
Now,
Yeah.
not very. I think it's important to know who you are and where you come from, no matter what.
Sure.
I'm a big fan of that. But my mom, they hang out with their grandmother a lot, and their grandmother talks about it constantly. And that's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool to have that family history stuff. I love that stuff.
Well, and I've said this many times. My grandparents were not able to vote until my grandfather, I think, was almost 60 before he was able to vote.
Wow.
Because of the literacy test. My mom took it. She wasn't able to vote until she was in her 20s. And she had, by that time, she had a master's degree from the University of North Carolina, and she kept failing the literacy test, and she has she had a master's degree. But that's really the true message, but that's not specific to indigenous people. That's specific to all people of color. I don't think we should dwell on it, but I do think we should remember it and make sure it doesn't happen again. And so when I hear things like, and this is happening now a lot, where you talk to people and there needs to be some kind of a test so that only people who are smart about the issue can vote. Right? You hear that all the time, and I'm like, no, that is horrendous. I can't think of anything worse, because who's going to control the test?
Yeah,
right?
Good point. Yeah, really good point. Yeah.
And because that's how they control the vote. And this is happening over in the EU right now, because people in London with Brexit, they're like, oh, well, the people voted for Brexit because they were uneducated and they weren't aware of the situation. That's an incredibly difficult leap to jump through. Incredible. So that's the kind of thing that I want my kids to remember. And my mom tells them stories about how there was no place for her to go to bathroom if she left the state of North Carolina because she wasn't black, and she wasn't brown. She tells them all those stories.
Oh.
Well, gosh, we have come a long way, and in many ways, thank you for sharing that, Galen. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's important to share, but at the same time, you cannot use it as an excuse. I think too many people use it as an excuse, including my cousins and people I know.
That's part of what I said
they're,
too.
They're like, "Oh, the man's against me." I'm like, whatever.
We had a conversation. We had a conversation with a lady one time, and she basically, and I'm not exaggerating, I have a tape where she basically said that it's straight white men that have been controlling everything, and that's the problem. And I said, well, wait a minute. That means I'm part of the problem.
Exactly.
And I said to her, the only problem I have with that, I'm not saying that the problems haven't been caused by the people in control, but what I am saying is that basically you're saying that if you're not straight, white, or male, then you have an excuse for not succeeding, and that's not fair to the kids either. You know what I mean? To make it seem like, well, you're going to fail because the odds are stacked against you. It's better to let them see the people who have succeeded, regardless of the things that are not, I guess, mainstream, whatever.
Right. There's a fine line between explaining where you're coming from and creating a crutch or an excuse for people not to succeed, and that's the part that gets me. So. Yeah. I mean, my mom grew up she was a sharecropper, one of 7 children, and we would go see my grandmother, go stay at her house, and when you were sleeping in her house, you could see the dirt underneath the house. And so if the wind blew, the whole house would be covered with this fine dirt. And so my grandmother was always sweeping, and that's why they had rugs, was to help the dirt from coming up out of the boards of the floor. So, oh yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. Wow. All right, well, be careful out there. Again, thank you for what you do for us, not only on this segment, but on Fridays with the football games and all the pre-work you do. I know there's a lot that goes into it that we don't know about. And be careful out there. It's Monday, and the banks are closed, I think. It's Columbus Day.
That's right.
Columbus Day, why not? Let's just close it. Let's just shut it down. Thank you, Christopher Columbus.
Hey, the most expensive grilled cheese sandwich I ever had was in Columbus Circle, New York. It's like, oh my gosh, never go there for grilled cheese. I'm telling you, no exaggeration. It was $100 for two of them.
I mean, is there a go-to grilled cheese place?
I knew right away that this was an expensive place. That's why I got grilled cheese, thinking, how much could it be? It was one of those places where they had no prices on the menu.
No.
And so I thought, well,
you should never go to those.
I'm telling you, it was bad.
That's awesome. Oh, I hope you enjoyed it. Well, at least you got something to remember and you got a good story out of it. That's got to be worth something, Larry.
That's funny.
Right? I mean, how many times have you told that story?
A lot. Everybody who listens regularly has heard it many times.
Okay, well, keep sharing it, and then eventually you'll get a return on your investment.
But you haven't heard the other part of that story. I will share it with you now.
Oh.
Downstairs from this restaurant, there was a statue, a huge statue. It must have been 20 feet tall. And it was a fat guy with a little tiny penis. And I said, we were having lunch with the publicist. That's why we were there. And I said to her, and she's a beautiful black lady, just so you know, if I can describe her to you. And she's a good friend. And I said, did you see the statue of me downstairs? And she said, a statue of you? I said, yeah. So we went downstairs, and she almost lost it, Galen. She thought that was the funniest thing I pointed to.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
I believe it's still there, by the way. All right.
I would hope so. What are you going to do with a 20-foot statue? I mean, is that offensive to people? Like, well, kind of.
Am I right, Robin? Am I telling the truth?
Yeah, you are. You're telling that we all had the look.
Yeah,
we all had the look. We even took a picture of you and her by it.
Peek under there and all. I mean, that's
right.
Human nature.
Where's the Bloodmobile? I didn't ask you that yet.
Well, not yet, but I knew you were going to get there. Today, hey, we're at Planet Fitness, so come by and see us. And, And please just give to Get the Life and donate platelets, and check us out at LifeSouth.org.
All right. Again, be careful. Thank you for what you do, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, you guys are the best.
All right.
Thanks, y'all.
We'll be right back. Here is your 1-minute news brief. Tropical storm Melissa is moving away from the U.S. East Coast into the open Atlantic Ocean. Reports of possible shots at an upscale Boca Raton mall sent panicked people running and triggered a lockdown for several hours yesterday, but a SWAT team's search found no evidence of any shooting, and police issued an all clear after nightfall. A 7-year-old Florida girl has been critically injured after she was thrown from a swamp buggy and run over by its tire in Clewiston. A Florida woman has been hospitalized after losing an arm and a foot when she was struck by a plane propeller at Key West International Airport. State law enforcement officers had fatally shot a man during a drug search at a home in Northport. 3 seats from Space Mountain were among $20,000 worth of items reported stolen from Walt Disney World last week. And your wait to go ice skating is over. Lake Square Mall in Leesburg has opened an ice skating rink called Winterland Adventures. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Our Columbus Day holiday will be a nice one with sunshine and some clouds and a high of 85 at the coast, near 90 inland, and clear to partly cloudy Monday night, lows ranging from the upper 60s inland to the low 70s on the coast. Tuesday, partly sunny and warm, high 85 at the coast, 89 inland. Remaining warm on Wednesday with clouds and sun. It'll become breezy in the afternoon with a shower and thunderstorm or two, the high 85 at the coast, 89 inland.